So affirmative prayer. This is our approach to apprehending the divine power and to directing it for our good. So we have a wonderful scientific formula, if you will, for our prayer. It begins with recognizing the one and the only one and acknowledging, unifying with it. We are one with it. We are created of its essence. And then we make our declaration. And typically we do this in a particular area. Maybe it's health, maybe it's wealth, maybe it's work, maybe it's relationships. But we tend to focus our affirmative prayer in a particular area. And then we give thanks because we know that gratitude establishes us in a consciousness of receptivity, and we know that receptivity draws our good like a magnet. And then we release our word to law, knowing law does the work. We don't have to interfere. We trust the universe to do what it does, and we let that happen. But we have to establish a premise for our prayer work. And probably we've been doing that whether we know it or not. We make an argument. I am the health of spirit. Therefore, everything else follows. Okay? I live in an abundant universe. Hence, all the good I see around me is there and available to me. It's mine for the choosing. Okay? God is love, therefore I enjoy loving relationships in my life. Each of these is a premise. So we establish a premise. But what if we could establish one premise that covered everything? Emma says we can. She says the highest premise is God is all. God is all. I would really like to inspire everyone here to take the next few weeks and maybe shift the way you do your affirmative prayer, whether you do it for yourself or you work with a practitioner. If you're working in the area of health, start working in the area of God. If you're working in the area of relationships, start working in the area of God from the premise that God is all. If we focus on that alone, it takes care of everything else. There is nothing that can be left out. Have you ever had the experience where you were working on, say, finding a job, and your health got better, and you weren't even paying attention to that at the moment? Oh, I can't worry about my health. I got to find a job. And maybe you even said to your practitioner, I haven't found a job yet, but I feel great. My energy is really high, and my arthritis is not acting up. Or maybe you were treating for prosperity, and still not so much evidence in your lived experience, but miraculously your children are behaving well. And so you notice and you say to your practitioner, I'm still having some money struggles, but the kids have been great lately. They're cleaning up their rooms and going to bed on time. Why is this possible and why does this happen? Because God does not compartmentalize our good. We tend to do that in our minds, but you cannot separate health from wealth, from love, from order, from joy, from harmony, from well-being, from creative expression. It's all one thing. So when we put our focus and the energy of our prayer on the highest premise, God is all, everything is added onto that. And there's a catch, as always. There's a catch. And there's a little feedback. And the catch is we have to back it up with our unqualified faith. How many of you think you have faith? How many of you think that faith is really strong? And how many of you have already figured out the piece about, I don't have faith in God, I have the faith of God, right? Different, okay. We need to go even deeper with our faith. Because this is the key to everything working the way we want it to. Not having faith works against us, doesn't it? We've seen how that goes. Fillmore's definition of faith is this: the perceiving power of the mind linked with the power to shape substance. Isn't that wonderful? The perceiving power of the mind linked with the power to shape substance. He notices that as humans, we do this thing where we take a perfect idea from divine mind, and then we bring it into the material realm and try to work on it ourselves. And it doesn't work as well, does it? Things can kind of go wrong, and we wonder, oh, what's up with this? Why do we think we can do better than God? Why? We take control of the situation and work on it from our limited perspective and our limited resources, and we hope for the best. Well, what if we had just left it where it belonged in the first place, in the realm of divine mind, where everything's already perfect? No, we have to mess with it. So I have to ask you, would you rather try to coerce conditions backed by hope, or actually shape divine substance through the power of faith? Who wants to do the first one? Okay, who wants to do the second one? Good answer. So for those of you who might be new, it's not that hope is a bad thing. Dr. Holmes calls it subtle illusion. I hope that's not the fire alarm. See, I can say it. But hope is not as powerful as faith. Hope allows for the possibility of not getting what we want, of not having life be the way we want it to. We deal with faith. And for us, faith is like hope on steroids. You can quote me on that. So when someone says to you, as people do, especially if we announce, I'm raising my consciousness, I'm changing my life, I'm opening up to the more, they start watching us, don't they? And sometimes they comment. Grandmothers are really good at that. Or my grandmother anyway. So what if they say, there's no hope for you? Your answer is, thank you for noticing. I don't do hope, I do faith. Or, you're hopeless. I love that one. You say, yes, I am, and I'm thrilled. Because I don't deal in hope, I deal in faith. Dr. Holmes says, faith means a belief in the presence of an invisible principle in law which directly and specifically responds to us. He is talking about the law of attraction, the law of cause and effect. There's only one law. You call it what you want, but that is what our founder is talking about. On page 46, in Roman numeral chapter 3, he says this, we are surrounded by an infinite possibility. As it passes into our being, it automatically becomes the law of our lives. Now, the infinite possibility Holmes speaks of is God, the eternal presence, infinite intelligence, the thing itself. It is the one and only creative power in the universe. And the way it works is through our recognition of it, our unification with it, our belief in it, and our demand upon it. What it does is produce manifestation. What we do is direct it via the depth of our belief, via the clarity of our consciousness, the efficacy of our affirmative prayer, and the power of our faith. When we do our part, God, as love and law, responds accordingly. And there's nothing else it could do, is there? Because it's perfect, and its only desire is to manifest its perfection in, as, and through us, now and always. Think about that and take it in, because it is the truth, and it's absolutely wonderful, and so are you, and so it is. Namaste. Thank you.